welcome back to Club Prairie Fire, the home of tequila, Tabasco, and the Duckworth Lewis system. It's been a long time since we've been on. We absolutely smashed it out during that first test, and then we all went our separate ways. We disappeared, but we have rejoined each other. So let's bring in these wonderful cricket stars, Adam Gilchrist in Perth and Michael Vaughan. Where are you, Vaughanie?
Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story. Because the podcast, as you said, we had to disappear after the first test. That moral victory for England at Edgbaston, we had to disappear. So I've actually travelled the world. I've now made myself to Mexico. I'm in Mexico. I'm sourcing out the. I'm just trying to get as a good contact. I haven't met that family that we discussed yet. I feel that I'm not ready to meet the family in Mexico just to have discussions about El Shito, but I'm here trying to source out a good distillery here for El Shito.
Good man. Yes. Vaughanie. Hey, Gilly. Now, people that were joining us for the first time, so can you explain exactly why we're called Club Prairie Fire and why Michael Vaughan is in Mexico trying to find us a distillery?
Oh, absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. Hello again, gentlemen, and to anyone that happens to be listening or watching or whatever you're doing out there. This is outstanding news, Vaughanie. This is taking it to a new level. I mean, we'll get to the reason a little bit later on why we had to pause proceedings after one test match. But the fact that you've got the bit between your teeth or the agave plant, whatever it is, between your teeth, and you're out there hunting. So, Club Prairie Fire. Simply put, it is, well, you may see that those that can see on the vision behind me, there's a bottle of tequila, there's a bottle of Tabasco sauce, and there's a shot glass. Simply put those two liquid items together in the shot glass, and you have yourself a prairie fire. It's as simple as that. Now, Vaughanie, you did mention El Shito. That is another bottle that you can see behind me. That just a very quick update, but of course we got through the first test match, and then there was 4 other tests. I'm not sure whether it was that much of an eventful series, the Ashes, after the first test. So not sure many people caught on. But Travis Head, is he our ambassador or what? Is he still on board?
No, I'm afraid there's a bit of breaking news with Travis. He actually started to trim his tash. And he
did too. He took it off at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he started. He obviously didn't want the multi-million-pound El Shito contract. There was a few others trying. I noticed a few others trying. Joe Root had started to try to get the tash. He thinks they'll be available by 2038. So we've got 15 years to wait for Joe. But it's ongoing with Joe. But Travis said, "I'm sorry." As much as he gave it the big spiel, it was at Edgbaston on the pitch on the morning of day 3, I think it was, that he said that he wanted to be the ambassador for El Shito. He's ruined his chances. Yep. He has ruined his next stage of his life of being a part of something absolutely huge. No, he's gone. He cut his tash. Yeah. He's gone.
Sorry, Prof, you go, mate.
I was just saying, was that not the top line of the contract? It said you need to keep your moustache.
Correct.
Without doubt. Merv Hughes, 89 Ashes. I mean, he was the face of Forex, wasn't he? And he was offered a lot of money to take that off for different advertising. He resisted not to take it off, but Travis took it off. So he's gone. So in short, a prairie fire, a shot of tequila, a little bit of Tabasco sauce, recommended at least 3 drops. Adds hours onto your night. So that's the whole foundation of this podcast. We are looking for tequila support. And this particular episode, as opposed to the first episode in the first test, you Japs will remember, it was Casamigos at Edgbaston. This time we're now on the Patron. It is a beautiful drop. It's global, truly global, not quite as global as El Shito. But if there are any manufacturers, Vaughanie, out there that you can find as you pursue the agave plant in Mexico that want to jump on board and give us a label, we'll go for it.
Well, it's my days, as you can imagine, flying in here. I had to sneak into the country because it's obviously going to be that big, and my days have been booked out. I've been here for now about 4 days, and I've met so many interesting people. I'm still alive, so it's going okay.
In here, Gillian. Thanks for sending us the bottle. It obviously didn't make it all the way to Mexico. I guess it's hard to follow a man that's traveling incognito like Vaughnie is. I've noted here that it's a clean taste with notes of citrus and cooked agave. So you remember the last one we had? It was notes of vanilla.
Yeah, that was rubbish.
Apparently, this one it was rubbish. Apparently,
Rubbish.
you're going to be tasting.
You're clearly not reading the backstory to the El Chito, are you?
No.
Because that had notes of
Goat shit.
Now, hey guys, we better bring in our other Englishman, Ollie, before we get into your bit of a lifetime, Gilly and Vaughnie, what you've been doing while you've been away. Let's bring in Ollie. Ollie, how are you, mate? How you going?
Yes, I'm really well, thanks, Prof. Great to see you again, guys. Excited to try Silver
Ollie.
Patron. Very
Now,
exciting.
Ollie, have you got, just before we get into the guys and what they've been doing, have you got any updates for us on the podcast, on the popularity? Where can people find us on socials? What have you got for us?
Yeah, I've got all of that. Absolutely. It is great to be back, and we actually have huge plans coming forward, and we will keep you ill-informed and out of date throughout the next few months for sure. I'll get to that later, but I'm going to reframe this, and I'm just coming in with some news in the cricket world that people may have missed since we've been away. So we're going to come in starting with West Indies are currently 2-1 up in a T20 series over India. And maybe they need a bit of Prithvi Shaw, who just hit 244 of 153 balls in a one-day game for Northamptonshire. That isn't as good as what he did 10 years ago, where he hit 546 as a 13-year-old for his school side. So that's a bit there. Also, cricket's global. There's a new league in the US. We've probably helped, really get that going. There's some big names signing over there. And not just in the US. Hungary have just bowled out Croatia for 64 and 63 in 2 T20 internationals, which is phenomenal. And the last bit of news, which is the biggest, I'm so glad Vaughnie said he's only been in Mexico for 4 days, because, gents, we've had a listen in Mexico. The Day 5 review, we're on one. So, Vaughnie, your mission is to find them.
Well, you mentioned all those, Ollie. You mentioned all those great stories of all the different kind of numbers around the world in terms of cricket. But the major news I want, Major League Cricket in Mexico. What do you reckon? Are we there yet? Any links, hookups?
No, nothing at all.
Nothing.
But we'll try our best.
Okay.
Do we know who the one guy was in Mexico? Was it someone of note? Was it an El Chapo or someone?
It just says man in Mexico City is all our analytics say. So there you go. So if you find him,
he'll be a big player. I'll look online today to try and find the man in Mexico City. I'm quite close to Mexico City, so it's quite difficult to find one person, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, fertile ground.
Now, Ollie, how do people find us? Give us the socials, the handles, whatever it is that people do.
So socials, they've also been going off while being away. It's at Club Prairie Fire, and there have been 2 messages I really want to pick out, one for each of you. Gilly, you're up first, and it was from Joseph X. Erub, who said, "Nice to see you this week on Hyde Park Corner with your kids.
Ooh.
You don't look like you've changed at all. You probably use Nivea cream. Could be good for a sponsor." That's a message. And then one for Vaughnie from brand manager Mia. This is genuinely true. "Hi, I'm a brand manager for an international fashion brand, and we want to send you our product for a paid collaboration. If you're interested, check your message for details." That is genuinely a true message.
Thank you very much. So there you go. In one breath, you're saying
Jesus.
Gilchrist is using Nivea cream, and the other breath, you're saying I'm going to get a sponsorship deal because I'm so good looking. There you go.
I think it's because you're a self-indulgent flog. I think it's perhaps more than a lie, but anyway, you roll with it however you want, mate.
It's all about
does she do a line does she do a line in rolled up sleeves in sort of lighter jackets? Because I know
The Johnson look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big. If you want any more sponsorships, at Club Prairie Fire on all socials, send them in. We will probably accept all of them.
Just on the rolled up sleeve, I'll tell you a little brief story. I came back from one of the test matches. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe the third, or I don't know. England had hammered Australia. I think it was the third. And I went in my local wine bar, and this lady walked up to me and she went, "Can I say something to you? You the guy off the cricket?" I went, "Yeah, yeah, I've been watching." She said, She went, "You look a right prick with your rolled up sleeves."
Good, accurate observation.
Very good.
Very good.
Gilly, you set sail, right? Post
I
the
did.
second test, and it was a trip of a lifetime in the Mediterranean. Did you catch much cricket, or were you just sunning yourself the whole time?
Clearly, I was sunning too much if I need the Nivea, but you're right. We got through that first test, and then, well, in actual fact, that by the time the second test started, I saw the first day or two, and maybe a little bit more, and then day 5 clearly was the big day, the moving day, if you like, at Lord's, where everything happened. I've actually missed the whole day because I was airborne for the entire day flying from Australia to London. So I landed in London at 5 a.m. on the Monday, the day after, day 5 at Lord's. And do you reckon my phone blew up? There was no Wi-Fi on the flight. My phone nearly exploded when I turned it on to Johnny Drama, the Johnny Drama. Not from Entourage, but the Johnny... the Johnny dismissal. So, after that, what did I do? I had a week in London, of which I managed to sneak up to day 1 at Headingley, which we can touch on in a moment. But and then we did set sail through the Greek islands, through the small, quiet islands. Well, they weren't so quiet when the Gilchrist clan got there, but a couple of the smaller islands were on it sounds very, very luxurious, and it was quite nice, on a small catamaran, and bounced around. Then we went to Italy for a little while. So that was us. That was me.
Not bad. Not bad. Vaughnie, and you were there slaving away, watching every single ball, analysing these test matches, while Gilly was just
he was
out and about, living the dream.
Yeah, what we did is at Headingley, when he came up with his kids, he came up on the Rattler early in the morning. He actually got a few freebies as well from me. Managed to get him a few freebies. All by the way, free bar all day from me. So I think that what we did is we got him over to Test Match Special, and I made sure it was later on in the day that he came over, and he gave us 45 minutes on air of absolute gold, pissed as a fart.
It's not a bad shout. That what I will do, I'll correct you that nothing in life is free. The 40-minute speaking gig I had to do at lunchtime, that might have paid for that. That might have paid for the tickets but you're right. Yeah, got on the train from London in the morning. Mel, my wife, and daughter Annie, as you do in Europe, you jump on the Rattler and head over to Paris for the day. And myself and my 3 boys, we shot up there. I'll tell you a funny little story about that. We're on the train. We leave London about 7 a.m. Everyone's pretty excited. One of the most highly anticipated days of cricket, wasn't it? But you could say the same of the first day of every test thereafter, because it's the drama of Lord's. So that first day at Headingley, everyone thought, what's going to happen here? Is it going to be a riot when the Aussies walk out? Is the action going to be huge? But we're on the train on the way up there, and we've got a pretty strong association with the Marsh family living here in Perth. They're every one of the Marsh men and women are really good friends of the family, and Harry, my eldest, is pretty good mates with Mitch. We get a message on the way up there. Mitch says, I'm playing. So that adds to the excitement and all the anticipation. We get up there, we settle in our seats, and then 10 minutes before lunch, what happens? A wicket falls and Mitch walks out the bat. We think, well, he's going to get out here, nothing to gain, everything to lose. He does what he does in the second session, which was one of the more memorable hundreds that you'll see. I wouldn't say maybe not one of the great ones, but it was brilliant, awesome batting. So that was perfect day. So I thought, what's better way to finish it? They go and say good day to my mate Mickey up in the comms area and just catch up quickly. And I reckon it was 4.6 seconds that I was in the BBC commentary box before they whacked their headset on me and started asking me questions. Just a social visit, just to say good day. And next minute, I'm in a 45-minute stint. Yeah. And yes, I was about 10 beers deep. and Mark Wood was charging in with a brand new ball, charging in, cleaning up Aussies every step of the way. So it was a traumatic little 40 minutes for me, but I tried to maintain my professionalism.
Yeah, but what I liked about it, Gil, is you three lads came in, and Test Match Special, we basically have a box full of cake and sweets, drinks, you name it. There's three big tables. The young Gilchrist cleaned the whole lot out. I've never seen Gannets like it.
He was actually asking if there was any more on it. Might have even gone into the skybox after that and had a Hoover in there as well.
Were they happy on the Bairstow thing, being the great Aussie wicketkeeper that you are? Did they cut you some slack?
Aggers and Vaughan did touch on it, did ask me about it, but I could quite rightly say I didn't see it. I hadn't seen it. I was 30,000 feet in the air, so I didn't know what happened. What did happen there, Vaughan? What was that? Was that out?
Yeah, it was out. It was out. Yeah, and I'd have done exactly the same as Pat Cummins, I'm afraid.
There you go.
What about the blow up from it, though? Hey, just quickly, in all seriousness, on that. I mean, that probably escalated it, the whole tension, but it was a really tense series, wasn't it? And I've had to think about why. I wonder why it got elevated to that, both on field and off field. Not that anything happened that was, totally out of acceptability, but it really. And I've been thinking a bit about it, and I'd be interested in your thoughts, Vaughan, from being over there and having watched basically every single ball live at the ground, and for both you gentlemen, Ollie and Prof. But I just think that the whole build-up around Bazball was intriguing. We were all observing, the cricket world's been observing the way England have been playing, and the Aussie point of view, the easy Ocker Aussie point of view is, they won't do it against our attack. It's not sustainable. From the very first ball, it's on at Edgbaston. We saw that, smashed through the covers. And then it all unfolded. Ollie Robinson, puffed his chest up, said some things. Uzi played the way he played, the drama of the victory for Australia. So it all started to get a bit more heightened. Then they go to Lords and everything unfolds again. There's a bit of Bazball on display, a bit of reckless batting. There's a bit of, interesting situations for the Australians in 2 test matches to be so on the back foot at times. But the crowd hop in, the Bairstow incident. I just reckon almost from that point on, as much as anyone else, the public that in England that had bought into the Bazball, bought into that team, as much as I've seen any nation buy into their cricketing team since 2005 of the England team that you led, Vaughan. That tsunami of momentum as an opponent was quite imposing. And I wonder whether the Aussies were feeling that, and the crowd and the England team were feeling it too in a positive sense, but they were 2-0 down. And everyone scratching their head going, hang on, the dynamic, the paradigm's not right here. It feels like the momentum's ours, but we're 2-0 down, and we are an absolute bee's dick from losing these Ashes, not just not getting them back, but losing the series. And obviously then the rest of the series played out. But do you reckon that's a fair assessment of how it got escalated, and then coupled with some of the most entertaining, exciting cricket that we've sat back and witnessed?
Yeah, I reckon the Aussies were definitely different after Lords. Whether that was because England made the change and bringing Wood and Chris Wokes in, so obviously they were strengthened, I honestly have no idea. But Australia was certainly more timid after Lords, and that might be that they're 2-0 up and they're trying to hang on, and then suddenly you play hang on and you're up against this juggernaut of just aggressiveness. And it's hard to play against a team that, England were playing a brand of cricket that was almost like, we don't care about losing. We're just going to keep coming at you. And can you withstand this kind of juggernaut of power? Headingley, England should have lost at Headingley, without any question. That chase, the Aussies not bouncing Harry Brook in the second. He's not bouncing Chris Wokes in the second. His tactically weren't right. At Old Trafford, England steamrolled the Aussies. I've never seen an Australian cricket team play so timidly and so negatively. I've never seen an Australian batting unit bat so negatively at the Oval in the first innings on day 2. I've never ever seen that. A session, I think they scored in the end 50 odd, but They scored them like 13 in an hour, just leaving the ball and playing so negatively. I think, you can talk about England's team selection got better. The Aussies played timidly. I honestly think the biggest moment of the series and what cost Australia was Travis Head cutting his tash. You have to think that that has to be the reason. I mean, if you think about it, when Travis had the tash and it was growing, the Australians were winning. He kept it slightly at Lords, still winning 2-0 up in the series. From the minute that he got the big scissors out and really chopped it off, the Australians just went downhill. So you have to blame Travis Head personally, individually. He should be named and shamed in Australia for the reason why Australia didn't win the Ashes. All right, they've got the urn, they're taking it home, but Travis Head is to blame for Australia not winning those Ashes.
Well, apparently, Vaughnie, it was a trimming error, and we've all done it. We'll trim one side, and then you start trimming in, and you reach a point where you shouldn't be, and then he had to remove the whole lot. It was a mistake. It wasn't a conscientious thing, and he knew when he did it that he basically cost the team the Ashes.
Yeah. Escaping issue, right?
Which it happens.
But Pro, has he admitted that though publicly that he cost them the Ashes because of that? Or are we revealing something here? Big news.
I don't care to think whether he realises he cost Australia the Ashes. Well, he didn't. We've still got him. But I'd be more concerned about the fact he's cost himself a very sizable contract with El Shito. That's the real harsh reality of it.
Yeah, good point.
You did right.
Good point.
Now, Bonnie, are the UK actually celebrating the moral ashes? Is that an actual thing? We've read that over here, and we sort of had a bit of a laugh. Is it a real thing?
Yeah. We've you probably haven't got it in Australia, but they had a bus ride around London. England celebrated the win. I reckon Stuart Broad will be knighted. So yeah, England won the Ashes. It's just the world knows that. That's the most important thing. The world knows that England won the Ashes. Let's just go back to one league. The Australians became that weak at the end that they were done by Stuart Broad replacing the Bales twice. I mean, seriously, when you're getting done by someone replacing the Bales and they get a wicket the next ball twice, come on. That in itself, it warrants England winning the Ashes.
Is my recollection correct that after every test in 2005 we had a beer together? Or is that just... Yeah. So now in this day and age, they push it to the end of the series. Was that a smackdown from England? Is that part of the moral victory to say, like, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Come back in 5. And then an hour later, no, come back in 5 more.
Yeah. I mean, I think England just feel that the Aussies were boring as pig shit, so they just didn't want to speak to them.
I tell you, both those teams need to get into a room together with nothing but a few bottles of tequila and Tabasco. That would be perfect.
I agree.
Away they'd go.
I'll be honest with you on that. On that regard, I think if England had not gone and had, because Australia have got the urn, it's your urn. You're taking it home. If the England lads haven't gone and had a beer at the end of the series, I don't give a shit what happens in the series. You can have scraps. There can be more Johnny Bairstow incidents. There can be man-cadding, whatever you do throughout a series. At the end of it, you go into the team's dressing room. Whoever's got that trophy, whatever the trophy you're playing for, you shake hands and you have a beer. If England hadn't done that, I'm not too sure they've made the right call there.
There was a lot of interesting things like that, and I want to bring up a tweet that you tweeted, Gilly. You wrote, and it made news here. You were probably on the back of a yacht going past Santorini or whatever, but you tweeted out, and there was 2 words, grown men. And all of a sudden, the Daily Mail got hold of it, News.com got a hold of it. Adam Gilchrist disgusted at the behaviour of the English crowd. Is that what you were tweeting about, or was there something else going on the yacht?
No, I sent that tweet out. I was back in Perth by then, and I was just sitting there observing my kids, and I realised that I've got a 22-year-old and a 16-year-old son, along with a 12-year-old. But I looked at the older 2 and thought, geez, they're grown men. I just tweeted that out. It's amazing what people make of it. That's extraordinary. But anyway, I'm glad I'm a needle mover. I'm an influencer. And the world of X, it's not Twitter now, is it? It's X. They observed and took
Just
it on board.
that, what do you make of X? No, it's starting to get on my tits as well every morning when you see that X on your screen.
Yeah.
Elon's made a mistake there. I know he's quite good at usually doing good business deals, but Elon, if you're listening, I think you've made a mistake.
He would be too, definitely.
In Mexico City. Could be
Hey,
him.
Vaughnie, do you think, in your professional opinion, that the English crowd are a bigger bunch of wankers than the Aussie crowd?
Nah.
You think it's worse in Australia?
What do you mean worse? What do you qualify as worse? I mean, the England crowd.
I'm going to face the carry on, all the long room, the bloke saying boring. No, is it worse in Australia, Gilly?
Look, let's just clarify one thing. Ollie, can you back me up on this? England single-handedly, as a team and as a nation, are trying to save Test match cricket. So what have we got? We've now got a team that plays the Bazball T20 over 4 or 5 days way, which is getting more and more. You should see the viewership figures over here. They're ridiculous because of this England team, not because of the Aussies. And also our crowd bring life and joy and energy to stadia. All right, they sing a few songs that some might say go over the line, but we're the nation that's saving Test match cricket.
Well done. That's awesome. Congratulations. Yes. And I hadn't noticed that because none of the players had mentioned that, or the coach or anyone around the team. I mean, they're so humble. But the good thing is, every nation, let's exclude India, but every nation has launched their own T20 comp over the last 10 years, 10, 12 years. And the first edition of it has been absolutely knocked it out of the park, ratings-wise, crowds, everything. But it just starts to diminish after a while. That the interest wanes a little bit because it gets a bit boring in itself. And the only things that are remembered are the teams that win the titles. So that'll stand up for a while. But if you've got an empty trophy cabinet, Jesus.
Well, can I also bring something to your attention? And I like him, and he's just retired, a legend, Stuart Broad. Already, I've just seen it this morning. He is an influencer, and his book is already going to. You can order his book now, November 23. The autobiography, Stuart Broad Auto, is out in November. So that is hot off the shelves. That is hot. Straight out the switching of Bales at the Oval to doing your autobiography, and it's out in November. That is quick.
Yeah, that is swift work. What about? Am I right in saying he announced his retirement at the end of day 3?
Yeah.
Is that right? But by the time he got down there, Sky had already packaged up a full tribute.
Yeah. 26 minutes.
So I suspect
26 minutes worth.
So the wheel's not been churning prior to the announcement, you reckon, if the book's out in a couple of weeks or a month?
Can I ask, obviously Stuart Broad retires and he's 38, is that right?
37, I think.
37. What is Jimmy Anderson doing? Is he, because what's he, 40, 44? How old's Jimmy?
He's 41. He was 41 on the 4th day at the Oval. We sung Happy Birthday to him, the whole ground. That's why, the England fans, they don't just sing nasty songs. They sing nice songs. So they sang Happy Birthday to Jimmy.
There's nice sides to teams not achieving these sort of wins because it's like India. Every failed attempt means that I'm still part of the last team to do it. So let's encourage that.
Yeah.
Drawn series where you retain the trophy, but don't win it. Perfect.
Now, boys, there's a few other little things from the Ashes that I just wanted to get both your takes on. The new ball at that last test, Vaughnie. Obviously, there is a bit of an investigation. Have you got any sort of scoop?
Yeah.
Is there? It reeks of foul play. You got anything for us?
Yeah. Can I just? So, what happens with the balls? Just so we can't put England into the category of breaking the spirit of the game. The balls get sent to the ground. So, Surrey County Cricket Club would get a batch of balls at the start of the year. The batch of balls get used, and I don't know where they get used. I don't know whether they get used in the nets, on the concrete. I've no idea where they get used. And suddenly they end up in the silver box. You know, the famous silver box that comes out pretty much every 2 overs in this series. There it comes. David Milne, the 3rd or 4th umpire, I think he's the 4th, that he brings it out. I'm sorry, there's a plane going over me. I'm just going to make sure it's none of the local family sniffing me out because they don't obviously want me in the country. So I had to just duck there. So
Hey,
go on.
did you, Dave Vaughan, did you say David Milne?
David Milne, yeah, the fourth one, a quick bowler from Leicestershire.
As in,
Nottingham, Leicestershire.
oh, good. He was nasty. Did not like facing him.
He loves
could
a
be
sunbed,
aggressive.
Milne.
He could be.
He likes going on holiday, Milne. He's always got a lovely tan,
He'd like it down in Mexico, on that beach sitting behind you.
Yeah, he's too big though. He gets spotted. They'd find him out. He's too big, Milner. So yeah, the silver box comes out. The umpires decide, all right, we need to change a ball. It doesn't go through that little gadget that they have that seems to be coming out all the time. And then it's down to the umpires to decide upon a ball change of the same kind of length of ball used. So 37 holes, I think it was, on day 4, doing nothing. Partnership's going great. Warner and Khawaja. England get the ball changed. The umpires change it to a brand new one. And I'm led to believe, and I've not had this official, and I know the investigation is ongoing, but there's whispers and rumours that not only did they get the ball changed, but they got a ball from 2019.
A batch that swung and seemed mild.
Come on, how's your luck? How's your luck? I mean, Stuart Broad, he's bowling for the last time in Test cricket, and all of a sudden, he's got a blancmange that he's bowling with. It's doing jack shit. And suddenly you get a ball test. And not only that, it rains all night. The tarpaulin covers are on. You get a ball from, again, alleged, but it's come from quite a senior source in the camp. Allegedly, it's from the 2019 batch. That has nothing to do with England. That is purely to do with the ground, Surrey County Cricket Club. They deny it. They say absolutely no chance that's happened. Do you know what? Let's prove it. Just get the ball that was used, and there will be a stamp. All balls have a stamp with the age of 2022. And if it's got 2019 on that ball, I want to know how that ball ended up in that silver box. Who is the culprit to get that ball in that box? It's a big bit
because he'd buying beers all night.
I mean, I think he might be called Chris Broad.
The only thing that stopped them coming off for bad light on that 5th morning was because the writing on the board was still so bright that it was lighting up the whole ground. It was a brand new conker, no doubt about that. But hey, tell you what, well bowled, Wokesy, Jesus, unplayable. All credit to him. Can have a brand new ball, you still got to put it in the right spot. He nailed it.
Well, I do think there needs to be an inquiry of who was the person that put that 2000. If it is a 2019 ball, I want to know who put that ball in the box.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that made massive news here was one of our all-time greats, Ricky Ponting, was getting grapes thrown at him. And I don't know if you saw this, but it was during the Sky coverage, and punter had spotted who it was up on the second tier. I'm just wondering what happened to that person after Sky got off air. What did Ricky do to the person that had thrown the grapes at him?
I don't know. Well, I think it was just being polite, the fellow, or whoever that person was throwing the grapes, because Ricky has his own wines. So he would have been just throwing grapes to Ricky to produce some new wines with. I mean, that's just nice. That's not being offensive at all. That's just being polite. Throw a few grapes. There you go, Rick. Make a bottle out of that.
Well, I'll throw this call straight out there. If anyone out there's got a nice agave plant that they want to see turned into tequila, throw it my way whenever you want.
I'm all over that over here, Gilly. Don't worry. I can sort that out for you today, possibly. I've got a few meetings lined up down in Mexico City. I'm a bit worried about getting there. I'm not too sure I'm going to get there.
You look dressed for a few meetings, actually.
Yes, it's early days, yeah. You just got to get your liquid in early.
All right, well, at the end of the day, 2-2, Australia retains the Ashes. And it's been like 20 years since England had it. So I guess that's all that's important. Hey, throughout this podcast, throughout the first test, Vaughnie, and this segment got massive. It was who's been best balled. And I'm wondering whether you had perhaps some nominations for the entire series.
Well, the nominations of the whole of the Australian camp. That goes down to the coaches as well. That's Andrew McDonald, Divanuto, Andy Flower, he was a part of the team as well. So the whole camp has been Bazball. But I'm afraid to say I have a winner. I do have a winner. And he's a lovely chap,
Right.
great guy. I spoke to him most mornings because by the end of the series, he had the Dayglow jacket on, carrying drinks. Scott Boland, Scotty B got Bazball from the. I think he had 1-2 over burst at Edgbaston when the clouds came in and he nipped a few around. But I think if you're getting reverse ramp for 6 by Joe Root, you're in the Bazball category of winning the trophy. So I can add to that Midge Marsh, Pat Cummins. I don't think Mitchell Stark got reverse ramp for 6. I think he was one of the seamers that obviously was skillful enough not to be able to get ramp for 6, left-handed by Joe Root. But Scott Boland wins the big trophy, the massive trophy of the Bazballer who got Bazballed. That's Scotty B. I'm afraid he gets the massive trophy. I don't know what the trophy is. I've not really got one yet, but it's going to be coming your way, Scott. So well done.
I like your assessment there, Vaughnie, and the fact that you took a positive there for him. He had 1-2 over spell where he got it going around a little bit in the whole series.
What he did, bastard.
That's good of you.
Did you want to nominate anyone, Gilly? Do you think that
No,
somebody?
No, not really. Not really.
Perfect. Now the other one, Gilly, you and this segment got hot as well. You ran your rule over the commentators each day.
Yes, yeah, I like it.
And just let us know what you thought the commentator today was. I'm hoping you can give us the commentator of the series, Gilly.
Yeah, well, I better be, for transparency, I did miss a couple of tests. Tests sort of 3 and 4, except for day 1 at Headingley. But so there was some good commentary around. I wasn't listening, as I said. I was 30,000 feet up when the Bairstow incident happened at Lord's, so I don't know who said what and how they handled it and what the commentary was, be it on TV broadcast or radio or podcast or every other sort of avenue that people seem to comment on the game now. But I did, as I mentioned, I did see one day at Headingley, and I would think the commentator of the series came out of that one day. Day 1 Headingley. It was a little 45-minute stint post-tea up there. The good thing about commentary, you've got to try to take off your broadcast head, and what the listeners want, particularly on radio, is a natural delivery. You want to be as relaxed as possible, Vaughnie, don't you? You really want to be able to ease into it and not have the facade up and all that. And on radio, you can do that particularly because you're not worried about the camera. So I think one, Eric Gilchurch, probably, Adam Gilchrist, on air, BBC, just for that 45 minutes post-tea, day 1, commentator of the series.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
That's good work, Gilly. That's good.
Do you remember any of it, Gilly?
Not really. No. I actually don't know how I ended up back in London, but thankfully I had 3 young sons. One that went and sat out there on the Western Terrace or whatever, what's it called out there, the West Stand. He wasn't much help getting us back to the train station, but my 16-year-old and 12-year-old safely negotiated back down to London, met up with my wife and daughter, and there you go. Off we trotted, off to Greece.
Now, Vaughnie, did you have a nomination for commentator of the series? Did you have anybody?
Oi.
My phone became too hot.
They're on the kids' iPad.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, actually. There's been some excellent pundits across the BBC in particular, real strong views on the game. But the best commentator by a country mile, because he came on this podcast having had probably 8 glasses of wine, 5 pints, and he actually is the reason why he is the reason why I don't have my Casamigo vanilla crap with me, because he drank me out of the whole bottle. And that is the legendary Phil Tufnell.
Yeah. How many did we count? How many shots did we edit out of the final product?
Well, if you
have
work
that many fingers.
No, but I can tell you. So if you work out how many shots you get out of a bottle, we were on day 3, I think. So we've probably done a pre-show. So there'd have been 4 shots that I would have drunk, The rest of the bottle went to Sir Philip Tufnell.
There you go. Very good, Tuffers. Very, very good.
And it's
now,
not we're about moderation here, aren't we? Just making sure we're respectful of it, but we do enjoy watching Tuffers in full flight off the long run.
Absolutely. Please drink responsibly. Don't drink like Phil Tufnell. Gentlemen, we do have a quiz. You know, we like to do a quiz on this show. It is coming up, but just before we get into that, Ollie, do you want to give our listeners a little bit of an insight into what the plan is, maybe the next sort of 12 months, what we're looking at for what we're trying to achieve here at Club Prairie Fire?
Oh, yes. I like the optimism. Sorry, Ollie. I like the optimism, Prof. We did one test and then we were off air for a month. But here we are. We're back. You're talking 12 months.
Well, maybe
love it.
Maybe Gilly it's just this one in the next 12 months. I don't know what he's going to say.
Okay, fair enough. Over to you, Ollie.
Yeah, well, as well as keeping you ill-informed and out of date, I'm going to also undeliver. My first line says we've got a huge 6 months coming up, Prof. So I don't know where the next 6 months come from, but we have, and it's, you know, we've got, I'm talking the 100. Then we've got New Zealand touring in the UAE and England. We've also got the real Ashes, and Vaughnie knows this as well. It's the under-19s Australia heading to England, and that's the one we really want to win, and we always have done. We prioritise that. Then the small little matters of the Cricket World Cup in India in October and November, and then we get the Aussie summer. So we've got the Big Bash, Pakistan and West Indies touring, and then Australia heading to New Zealand. So we have got everything going on, essentially.
Brilliant.
We're going to cover it all. We're going to cover it all.
Oh, we're going to cover it all. Good. We're going to be doing stuff around it, shows. We'll be having a laugh. And
Ollie, do you want me to get some of the under-19s who are probably 16 and 17 on the pod to do a few tequilas?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, that would be. But only if they do it in Mexico, because the drinking age is 15. So that's fine. Yeah.
Boys, we are going to move on to the quiz in a second. But before we do, there is the chance of another Ashes, sort of. We might be meeting, the Matildas might be meeting England in the semi-final in the Women's World Cup. Have you boys been watching all the soccer?
Indeed. Yeah. Matildas versus the Lionesses. Imagine that. Just got to win one more each and it's game on again.
Who's going to win it, Vaughnie?
Well, we're the Euro champions. We've got a few injuries. We've got quite a few of the team not there. So we're really a second team down at the World Cup. But, I enjoyed the penalty shootout. There was... The winning penalty was the hardest kick as a penalty more than the men's Premier League last year. It went about 7 miles an hour quicker into the back of the onion basket. So good luck trying to beat the England women. They're outstanding. By the way, the Nigerian girl that missed the penalty with the left foot, that was a high ball.
Ollie?
Yeah, that's right. Chloe Kelly, 111 kilometres an hour. That penalty went in, which was a bit quicker than Syed Benrahma for West Ham's. It was 107 kilometres an hour. And they will meet potentially next Wednesday. The Lionesses favourite to take out the whole thing. So if they do, that obviously goes to the Ashes scoreline.
Yes.
It's 3-2. And also, one other thing, it is football, not soccer, Professor, from now on, please. It is football.
Sorry, football it's either rugby league, rugby union, or Aussie rules, Ollie. That's the 3 footballs. And then you have soccer. All right, guys, it's time for the quiz. Favourite part of the podcast. Ollie's prepared a wonderful quiz this afternoon. I've read through it. It's magnificent. This is how it's going to work. I've got 2 questions for each of you. I'll come to you alternatively. If you get it wrong, the other person has the chance to get it right. The 4 questions that we have are from the last 4 tests of the Ashes in 2023. You happy with that, Ollie?
Okay.
Love it.
Wonderful. Here we go. We'll come to you first, Adam Gilchrist. In the Lord's Test, who ruined the spirit of cricket?
Oh, gee, a collective group or an individual? What sort of answer are you looking for?
I'm looking, according to Ollie's question, I am looking for an individual.
Right. Well, I don't know his name. It'd be a hyphenated name. He would have been wearing an egg and bacon tie. He would have been in the long room. Totally ruined the spirit of cricket. Totally stuffed it up for everyone. I mean, the Aussies, completely within the rules of the game, were trying to go off and have their lunch, one of the best lunches in the modern era at Lord's, so you're looking forward to that. You don't need to be hijacked on the way by some waffling old red wine spitting member in the MCC long room, Lord's long room. So we'll say Aaron Daffon Smith would have been his name, I reckon. That's probably the bloke that pulled them all up and ruined the spirit of the game. What a wanker.
That's incorrect.
No?
Okay.
He's called. He was called Humphrey.
Oh, Humphrey, of course.
Now, according to Ollie, the Englishman that wrote this, that is the wrong answer. So, Vaughnie, would you like to answer who ruined the spirit of cricket?
Well, I agree with Gilly, but he got the name wrong. It was Humphrey.
Okay, according to the correct answer, according to Ollie, it's the Just Stop Oil protester that ran off.
Good point. Very good
Jesus,
point.
that seems like a long forgotten memory. Johnny did very well to hang on to that one and carry him off, didn't he?
Yeah, good catch.
He was couple, wasn't he? He was so stiff, the guy. He was very strange. So that's 0 points for everybody. Question number 2. Headingley was the start of the comeback for England, but who hit the winning runs?
Chris Wokes.
Correct. Well done, Michael. That's one for Vaughnie. All right. This next one is for you, Gilly. England scored 592 at Old Trafford, which included the highest score of the series from Zach Crawley. What did he get?
Oh, thankfully I didn't see it. I was still seabound at that time. I'm going to guess 189.
Correct. Very good.
Beautiful.
There you go. So,
off about 64 balls.
Answer. Very good.
I think so. 84.
84.
Now, this can be classified as the tiebreaker, gentlemen. You can both give me an answer, and we'll see who wins. We saw Stuart Broad end his fabulous career at the Oval, where he hit the final ball for 6 and took the last Australian wicket. But who ended up top wicket taker in the series? A name, and for bonus points, yes, Vaughnie, you've got a name? Bonus points, it's the number of wickets.
I think Mitchell Stark.
Okay, and how many wickets do you think Mitchell Stark took?
24.
All right. Gilly, who do you think took the most wickets, and how many did they take?
Mitchell Stark, 23.
Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations, Gilly.
Oh, that is tremendous. Oh, that does make me chuckle.
Mitchell Stark with 23. Now, gents, that was our first return to Club Prairie Fire. But, of course, Gilly, we can't finish without raising a toast to someone. You've sent us this wonderful bottle. I know, Vaughnie, that didn't make it to Mexico. You got something there, Vaughnie? Have you got a beer or something?
Yeah.
He'll find something over there in Mexico, surely. He'll have the good stuff.
Just going to do a little bit. I've got a little bit of Heineken. Well, what I found in the kitchen is some peri peri. Peri peri is that.
Perfect.
Just gonna tap a bit. Just tap a bit in. Well, this is going to be nasty.
Ooh, how many shots, Gilly? 3?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Just the one shot. Oh, the three drops of Tabasco minimum. You can add as much as you want on there. And next show, I'm hoping to have very special guests on who I actually, whilst on my European vacation and masquerading around the Greek islands and Italy, I promoted the Prairie Fire extremely well, and I think I've picked up some wonderful advocates who have quite a profile. So we'll get them on next week. Hopefully, they certainly enjoyed the fellowship of the Prairie Fire. But I think, and there's my little vessel. It's Yamas from Greece. But I just think just great to be back to one of the great one of the great Ashes series. It was a pleasure to witness, and Vaughnie, you were there for every ball, but well done to those two teams, keeping Test cricket alive, no doubt. But cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys. Yamas.
Oh, that's quite nice. That's quite good. That's quite good. I recommend that. Lager with peri-peri kind of powdered droppings in.
That's
nice.
Good. That's good commitment.
By the way, just on Gilly, I just you were in Europe. I happened to nip to Portugal 2 weeks ago as well, in between one of the tests.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a little bit of something. Yeah, it's travelled the podcast, and there's a young chap that serves me in the local bar, called Bruno, and he had something to say about El Chito.
El Chito, the greatest tequila in the world.
Oh, that is brilliant. Wow, that is truly global that we've gone there. Vaughnie, that's good scouting. Very good.
Yeah, well.
That is very, very exciting. Now, if you do own a tequila company and you're a big fan of cricket and you listen to this,
yes.
you think, gee, I'd like to get my tequila brand on that show. Bloody send Ollie an email. Is that right, Ollie?
Yeah, I've definitely got an email, so send it. We'll put it in the description. Yeah. clubprairiefire@gmail.com. clubprairiefire@gmail.com is where you can find us. Is anyone else getting vanilla? I'm getting vanilla undertones right now.
No, mate. Notes of citrus and cooked agave. That's what I'm getting. I've got some grapefruit. I've got some mandarin. Oh, magic. Absolutely magic. All right, yes, Vaughnie?
Is what's it called? The Patron? What's it called?
Patron.
Is it as bad as the last one?
Oh. Sweet. It's good.
What are our chances, Ollie, of getting Patron as a sponsor?
Well, after my facial expression is probably not great, but I think we'll send Gilly in as our spokesperson.
Okay. So,
yeah, Gilly.
Vaughnie, it was magnificent. It's the best tequila I've ever had. That's the answer there.
Marvellous. Marvellous. This little bit of liquid's nice as well.
All right. Go get them at those meetings, Vaughnie. Good stuff, lads.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
The next one.
We'll see you next.
I'll report back in next week.
Go the club.
Stop the club.